Hello everyone, Storm11 here. Today we'll be having an update on the tropics. We're also going to have a very short update talking about the upcoming pattern to be going on across most of the United States as well. So we're going to get started with the tropics here with the infrared satellite imagery. We got a beast of a storm out there, and that's Major Hurricane Sam, which is currently a high-end Category 4 hurricane out there. Now, we do have some better news in this update here, which had better news is the fact that this currently has no threat to land, at least for the United States, or to the Lesser Antilles. However, Bermuda does need to watch the system here. Some also been hinting on may go either right at or pretty close to Bermuda. So that's going to be something we need to watch there as well. So Bermuda definitely needs to watch Sam. We also got to watch for potential development here in the main development region. Also, another tropical wave coming off of Africa. We also got the remains of Peter. Yeah, Peter has returned, and Odette is gone. So, you guys remember the last update, we had the remains of Odette up here, which is now gone at this point. But really, the main part of the video is going to be Sam. Here's a closer look at Sam, and yeah, you can tell this thing is a beast. Currently a high in Category 4, trying to make a run at a Category 5 hurricane, which definitely seems doable. We got recon heading right towards um, Sam right now. So recon will definitely tell us if this is a low-end Category 5 hurricane or still a high-end Category 4. Now, there's been some arguments that this may be a Category 5, which honestly I agree because this morning they kept it 145 miles per hour for about 12 hours, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because it has definitely amplified quite a bit. So I think at this point here, maybe a Category 5, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it's a very impressive system here. Uh, as of right now, it currently has no threat to land, but areas across the Lesser Antilles, even for parts of Dominican Republic and Haiti, Puerto Rico, even for parts of the East Coast, could see some dangerous surf out there. Some larger waves, stronger rip currents. This system here could definitely kind of juice up the Western Atlantic here. Let's go check out the waves from the European model in a moment. But then again, Sam is a very impressive storm. If we check out what the hurricane models think of Major Hurricane Sam, you do see here most of the hurricane models do bring it up towards Bermuda, which is right here. Hits are Lesser Antilles. Now, really, the only impact they will get from Sam will be stronger, dangerous surfs, which means higher waves and also stronger rip currents as well. There's also going to be some dangerous swells as well. That's another way to name it. But if anybody's going to be swimming across parts of the Lesser Antilles, Puerto Rico, even across parts of the East Coast, despite it being hundreds of miles offshore, it's still going to bring some dangerous swells. Just given the fact of how strong the system is, and it could definitely juice up some of the waves there a little bit. So, yeah, on that. And here's the GFS ensemble thoughts, and you do see here some of those members do bring it towards Bermuda, but the main does keep it further to the east. So, but then again, Bermuda still needs to watch the system very closely as well. They could definitely see some of the worst impacts than everybody else would be. But here's the intensity guidance here, and we only got a couple of models to bring it to a Category 5 hurricane, but it's very interesting how the majority of the models here actually make it die down over the next at least 12 to 24 hours. I mean, we still don't have much of any wind shear or dry air out there, so it still could intensify a little bit more. So that's why I'm saying this could make a run at a Category 5, because the environment is still favorable for intensification out there. But we'll see what recon data will say, which will happen later today. But here's the National Hurricane Center outlook here, and here's the remains of Peter, which currently has a low end 30% chance. Here's Sam with 150 mile per hour winds with a pressure of 938 millibars. Here's the two disturbances we need to watch here. Here's one right here in the Central Bay Development Region, which does have a 50% chance of developing. Here's the other one, which has a slightly higher chance of developing in the next 5 days as well. So tropics continue to look very active. We're also about to run out of names. Yeah, if we check out the names here from the for the season here, these are out of the way, these are out of the way, and these are out of the way. So we're down to two names left, and that's Victor and Wanda. So you guys are probably wondering, well, what happened to Teresa? Well, while I was gone here, we actually had a subtropical storm that developed just to the north of Bermuda. Briefly, it was a subtropical storm, but it didn't die out. It's nothing really to yap about. That's something I never even mentioned. But we still got two names left, and you guys are probably going to be wondering what happens when we run out of names. Well, if you guys remember from last year, we had to go down to the Greek alphabet. And so so here's a whole new list of names. So you kind of got alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and so on forth. Now, if I'm correct here, we already beat this record here from last year, and I think we got as far as Ida or Kappa. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but we did get through all these names here last year, and I don't think it's going to be as active as last year. I mean, I think we can at least get a couple more names down on this list here, but it is very rare to see back-to-back seasons where you run out of names. I mean, even running out of names by itself is pretty rare, but back-to-back, I don't know if I don't know if that has happened before, but looks like we are more than likely going to run out of names because the end of hurricane season is the end of November. So we still got a little bit ways to go here with hurricane season, and I'm sure it's pretty likely we're going to run out of names, and we can at least get a couple more in to the Greek alphabet. Let's kind of go back here, and like I said here with Sam here, there's going to be a favorable environment here still out there, um, but there is going to be a trough that moves in across parts of the northeastern United States. So let's try to dig in a little bit further to the southwest. I'll try to bring in some wind shear out there as well. You'll kind of see that as that trough really starts to amplify, and then it kind of a part of it does expand a little bit further to the south, and another part of it kind of moves up to the north. But here's Sam right here with no wind shear. I mean, that's actually creating its own wind shear, but out ahead of it, there's no wind shear at all out there. Here's the remains of Peter right here, which with the remains of Peter and some of the other tropical systems were out here, that's going to kind of put a hole into the ridge here. So that's where Sam is going to try to go, is kind of in between the ridge. We got a ridge that's out here, and there's another one that sits out here. And Sam's going to go right in between those two ridges. So this ridge here is actually going to keep us safe here from getting close to the United States here. So Peter is actually, at least the remains of Peter, is kind of saving us from Sam to continue to the west. And eventually Peter's going to die out, but there's still going to be a little bit hole into the jet stream here, which we'll check out the 500 millibar height anomalies in a moment. But look what's happening back in the main development region. We actually got a tropical system that's developed. 992 millibars. That actually be a tropical storm, not of a possibly a low-end Category 1 hurricane, but then it starts to hit the wind shear and then dies out. Here comes that tropical wave that comes out of Africa, and you do see it also tries to develop, then also hits a wind shear as well. Meanwhile, for Sam, it's hitting some strong wind shear. And eventually what's going to happen here is a ridge is going to build to the north, and that's actually going to cut off Sam here. And it's now it kind of becomes a cutoff low. Here comes another tropical system moving to the north up there as well. And then if the GFS is correct, which this may change, then it just sticks around there for a while. Here's some precipitable water here. There's actually some dry air kind of going around Sam. Not a whole lot, but there is some dry air out there kind of going around Sam. But as we kind of continue on here, there's a little bit better dry air that kind of comes in when it gets to the northeast of the Lesser Antilles. Meanwhile, this tropical wave, at least a tropical system that does develop in the main development region, there's actually a lot of dry air off to the west, and some of that's going to try to choke that tropical system there, and that's going to make it die down. And especially with that wind shear, bam, it's gone. There goes Sam, continuing to move to the northeast here, which this may be try to become a subtropical storm at this point here, or a subtropical hurricane, whatever you want to call it. But here comes another tropical system there, which also has some wind, some dry air around it as well. You can see how that continues to move on to the north. Here's the Bermuda High, really well pushed to the east. Meanwhile, there's another ridge out here as well, which is cutting off from Sam to go up to the north. That's what's kind of happening here. You kind of see it. There's a little block here. You see some moisture continues to move up north, and then bam, hits a little wall there. That's a ridge up there, which here's a better view of that. So your blues is where your low pressure is going to be, or your troughs. The red colors, that's where your ridge is going to be. And you do see here's Sam right here, continuing to move up to the northeast here. And you can see here, it's going to try to make a run at where there's a little cut in the ridge here between two ridges. You got the Bermuda High right here, and then there's a Canadian High up here. And then what's going to happen here is, watch what happens when it gets a little further up to the north. Then it starts to cut off Sam, and then it just becomes like a cutoff low. And then bam, the ridge, the Bermuda High, and this Canadian High then connects, and that just blocks from Sam to go up to the north, and then it's just stuck. It's just sitting there. It's pretty much a sitting duck until it starts to weaken, which at this point here, and then it tries to make a run out to the northeast, which obviously this could change. But if the GF is correct, we could be talking about Sam for a while. Now, the good news is, with these cutoff lows, it usually dies down over time. So the longer it sits there, it's just going to get weaker over time, especially when it cools down those waters there as well, which it's already very cool up there as well. But it's definitely going to be very interesting to watch there, see what happens with Sam. But still kind of has a little bit unpredictable future for Sam as well. But then again, no threat to the United States at this time here. Now, if we check out the swells out here, or yeah, let's check out them swells out there. And you can see here, it's not really that bad. Then as we kind of continue on here, some of those swells really starts to hit the lesser Antilles, which could be up to 8 feet with some of these swells, which is pretty large there. And you see how it continues to move up to the northeast. And then you can see how these swells kind of expand here. And then it gets to the point where it actually affects parts of the East Coast, parts of eastern Florida, southeastern Georgia, even for parts of the Carolinas as well. Despite of having it hundreds of miles off the coast, there's still going to be some swells out there, ways away from the storm. You can see as we move to 9 o'clock, then things kind of die down a little bit, but there's still going to be some swells out there in stronger rip currents that's going to be created by Sam. So really anybody that kind of lives up along the East Coast that's going to be swimming or anything like that definitely needs to pay attention here. Definitely needs to be careful at least out there as well. Okay, let's kind of move on to what's going to be happening in the United States. So we're done with the tropics, at least for now. And let's kind of move on to what the upcoming pattern can look like across the United States. Now, there is some good news with this upcoming pattern. Parts of the northwest here can actually get some rain and also a little bit of snow as well. As we kind of play this through here, you're going to see a high pressure system just kind of sticks around across parts of the southeastern United States. That's going to keep things mild and dry. And I kind of play this, and then the pattern gets pretty active when you get into parts of the plains here with shower and thunderstorm activity. Even across parts of Arizona and New Mexico could see some rain, as well as some good news as well. Some of these places actually do need some rain. Meanwhile, across parts of the Northeast, you'll kind of get a couple lows that may come on shore over the next couple days. So here's one right there, which is a little far up to the north, actually more focused up across parts of British Columbia. And then here's Sam right here. They'll continue to move up to the northeast there. And then you kind of see how things kind of continue on from there. And you do see some of these systems here kind of continuing on to move across parts of the northwest as well, bringing in some rain and some snow to the mountains as well. Yeah, we're talking about snow, right? And it is getting into parts of late September, and we are already talking about snow. And you can see really across most of the Rockies could see some snow here, with snowfall amounts could be anywhere from 1 to 3 inches over the next 10 days. Snowfall amounts get a little bit higher as you get to across parts of Colorado, and you do see here some places could see up to 6 inches of snow. Here's the GFS now. This is not really as high res, but it does show some of those snowfall amounts across those higher elevations as well, which is a general dusting to maybe a couple inches, but there's some other spots that could see at least a couple inches of snow as well. So places across parts of the Rockies of the western United States could see some snow. He even tries to spit out some snow across parts of Utah, Nevada, even for California. Isn't that interesting as well? Now for rainfall, you can definitely tell where some of the most active activity is going to be. Uh, at least some where most of your activity is going to be, I should say. And that's across parts of the central and several plains, even across parts of the four corner states could see some rain as well. And really, anywhere from southeastern South Dakota down to across parts of Texas could see anywhere from 1 to 2 inches of rain. Meanwhile, in the reds, that's where you can see 2 to 3 inches of rain, and that could lead to some isolated flooding issues as well. Meanwhile, across parts of the northwest could see plenty of rain, especially in those higher elevations. Could be anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of rain in those higher elevations. Meanwhile, in the lower elevations, not as much. However, some of those places are at least going to get some rain, so that's the good news there because some of these places actually really do need some rain as well, but probably won't be enough to kill the drought, but it's better than nothing when you think about it there. How's the pattern going to persist here beyond 10 days? Well, let's first check out the 6 to 10 day outlook here. So this is the probability outlook here for temperatures. And you can see here most of the central and even for parts of the western United States could see that possibility for some above normal temperatures. The better opportunity will be across parts of the upper Midwest and the North Plains. That's where we could see some well above average temperatures. At least that's possible. Then there's a slight chance of cooler than normal conditions across parts of southern Florida and even for parts of southern New Mexico, southwestern Texas, and far southeastern Arizona, I should say. Here's the probabilities for precipitation looking dry across parts of the east and the northern United States. Meanwhile, it's looking a little bit wet across parts of the central and southern plains and even across parts of the four corner states. Then again, some of these places actually do need some rain, which is some good news there. Then how about 8 to 14 days, getting into early October. Looking pretty warm across the northern part of the United States. And it's looking mild pretty much everywhere else. Be a lot for precipitation here. Across the east, it's looking a little bit dry, even across parts of the north. Looking a little bit wetter across parts of the central southern plains, and even for parts of the four corner states and the desert southwest. So this is a pretty good pattern here when you think about it, because across parts of the east, we definitely need this drier weather across parts of the east. Meanwhile, across parts of the southern plains and desert southwest, do need some rain as well. Some of those places actually need some rain. Some other places, not so much. But, they're going to need some of that rain as well. So not a bad pattern that's going to be coming up here as well. But fall's not really here just yet. Keep in mind that. We'll probably see actual fall as we kind of come into probably sometime in late October. But anyways, guys, this is all for you guys today. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. If you already like my channel, hit that subscribe button. Hit the bell notifications so you never miss an upload. If you guys have questions about this, put a comment section down below. I answer you guys questions. And I see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.